that life or business you truly desire. So are you with me? How about that? Let's have a look first off at what is selfishness. For me, I believe, and some will say there's 3 types of selfish, but I kind of keep it really simple. I believe there's 2 types of selfishness, and I wouldn't say good or bad. I don't think there's good or bad. It's the yin and yang of everything. There's a negative and a positive for everything. But when it comes to selfishness, I often refer to it instead as being healthy or unhealthy. Now, unhealthy selfishness is exactly all those negative things that we talked about in the beginning. It's when we're self-absorbed, we're consumed in our own thoughts without acknowledging what others are feeling or thinking. We're inflexible in everything we do, being completely one-sided, completely focused on you, always. Now, we know people that are like that, and you can relate to an unhealthy selfishness. But on the other hand, I learned a lot about healthy selfishness. And that kind of selfishness, it grows out of an accurate understanding of who we are and what we need in order to take care of our needs first. Now, simply put, that's it. That's what selfishness is taking care of yourself first, so then you're able to take care of others. It's just all about allowing yourself to honor, care for, and nourish yourself within reason before we can then honor, care for, and nourish others. Now, as a coach, this is really, really important because I can't help others unless I have helped myself first. I can't teach others unless I have taught myself first. It always and always will come back to you. And that to me is a really healthy selfishness. The healthy and the unhealthy. I think if we can get clear on those 2 things, it just can really help us see where we can make changes in our life, where we can strengthen ourselves and bring more positivity into our life by being selfish. Because unhealthy selfishness operates with it has no greater end in view. There's no higher motive to what is done. It's all about the now and it's all about me. Whereas that healthy, that desirable selfishness, it involves the courage, the confidence to actually give priority to us. Prioritize ourselves and our concerns. It gives us that confidence to be clear and honest and upfront about our needs. Not to harm others, not to hurt others, not to reject others, but simply to serve them in a deeper, better, more sustained and committed way over the long term. And that's what life's about. It's enjoying not just the now, but the long term and having others come with us on the journey. By nature, we have actually been designed to thrive through a healthy, selfish form of self-preservation. I love a wonderful analogy that I learnt. And they used it was of an apple tree. Now, if you think of an apple tree that sits there, an apple tree cannot give us oxygen to breathe. It cannot give us apples to eat, and it can't provide the shade for us to sit under on a hot day if it didn't first selfishly absorb the water and the nutrients from the ground or the light and the energy from the sun that it needs to grow strong and healthy. It needs to take care of itself first before it can provide any of those things for us. Now, we're no different to that apple tree by nature. We too were designed to function at our best through the same form of healthy self-interest, healthy selfishness. As a human being, not only does our body and heart and mind function best when we give ourselves what we need to be well, to be healthy, to be happy, to be strong, but the natural byproduct of being this way, of having this dynamic, is that we then also have so much more to give others when we have truly attended to ourselves, when we have truly fed ourselves first to be able to give out, for want of a better word, that apple, that shelter, that oxygen to others to help them have a better life. So then the question I'm going to ask you here is, why, if it's natural, is it kind of so hard to put ourselves first? Why do we feel guilty when we need to do something for us? Why is looking after us seen as selfish? When are we going to stand up and say enough is enough? Because it's funny. There's a real contrast out there in the world. We actually live in a very put others first society, and yet we say we live in a very selfish world. So it's very conflicting, this true meaning of selfishness. Because in a world where we put others first, we frequently fail to put our needs, to state our needs as clearly as we should, and often this has huge results, negative results, for us if we truly want to give. I mean, think about yourself. In order to be a good parent, you need to be able to give yourself something, even if it's only little, every day. And I know sometimes that's hard. I've been there, done that. As a business owner, you may need to say no to people. You may need to look after yourself and have that hard conversation with others. Just as a human being, you may need to do something that, you know what, seems a bit indulgent. You may need to spend that last dollar on you simply for your sanity's sake. But because we sense how contrary to others' expectations these desires can seem, often we say no to ourselves. Often we opt to stay quiet about what we need. Often we grow and hold all of this inside us and become increasingly, there's so many emotions that we hold inside us when we hold this selfishness and we put it off and put others first instead of ourselves for a long time. I sometimes think that a lack of selfishness, the healthy selfishness, turns us into very, bitter comes up, bitter, sometimes angry, disappointed, ineffective, and I have to say unhappy people from the inside out. Our giving lacks something when we haven't first given to ourselves selfishly first. So for some reason, we fail to follow this natural principle of life. We create lives around that opposite trait. We seem to think, and we put it out there, that we have an overbearing modesty, that we give until we can give no more. We give in to the wishes of others. We do things for others. And all of this to me is a dangerous and counterproductive lack of selfishness. And this can hurt us just as much as what we think in our minds or perceive selfishness can do to us. A lack of selfishness can hurt. So we spend the majority of our lives thinking that selfishness is negative. Selfishness is bad, it is wrong, unhealthy, and maybe even sinful. We please others, we put ourselves either second or last, or just don't even think about ourselves when dealing with our family, our friends, and our partners. And the truth is that even when we try to avoid selfishness, we are still being selfish. But this is the unhealthy selfishness. And by being healthily selfish, we limit ourselves. We limit our thinking. We limit our actions. We put ourselves down. We give others what we want for ourselves. And I'm sorry, but this is the key for me. It's not the right thing for anyone to ever neglect their mental, emotional, or physical well-being, to live in a world where you give, but it leads to a lot of stress, maybe resentment, and a whole lack of joy, an unhappy life. If you really analyze it, it's really not rocket science. We need to get selfish. We either take care of ourselves or we neglect ourselves. Taking care of ourselves enables us to actually have the time and energy for others. neglecting ourselves. It may feel okay to give on the outside, but we're actually taking ourselves down a path to more stress, more resentment, and more unhappiness. So what do you think? This is healthy selfishness. This is, to me, is what it's all about. Because how are you supposed to take care of others if you're not selfishly taking care of yourself first? Now, I know some of you out there know that selfishness doesn't have to have all these negative connotations. I know many of you know that selfishness can be unhealthy or healthy. But you know what? What I've learned? That for some of us are just better at being selfish than others. Because contrary to the thinking that yes, it is natural to us, pursuing selfishly ourselves, pursuing self-interest, actually doesn't come naturally to us. It's hard work, especially if from our childhood we have been brought up to think differently. It takes effort. And sometimes I think that's the mindset we get in, that because it takes effort, it must be wrong. So how do we become more selfish? And maybe the first question is, do you want to become more selfish? Well, like anything, and anyone that I coach will say that this is where I go first. We start big by looking at what we truly want, and then we come back small. Start slow, start small, start by prioritizing and getting really clear on what your needs are today, on what your needs are in the future. Create a space around yourself where it's okay in your own mind to be selfish. Start reiterating this fact to your own thinking, to your own mind. It's going to start from inside. Being selfish is going to start from the inside. And remember, there's the two selfishnesses. Sorry, I don't know if my English is right there. So it's getting really clear on what it means to you and how you can use it to be a better person, to feel better, to be happier. There's this quote, and I don't know who it's from, so I can't tell you who it's from. And it says something like, self-care is never, ever a selfish act. It is simply good stewardship of the only gift you have, the gift you are put on the earth to offer others. You are a gift. I am a gift. We are here to help others. And yet to do that, we need to be selfish, have self-care for our own self-preservation. And so here's 3 simple things I do. Number 1 is I find quotes, intentions, motivations that support this thinking. Because I still sometimes have trouble telling myself I'm being selfish. But I put them out there, I put them in my computer, I put them on my phone, I put them on my wall. I journal my thoughts around being selfish. When I have the feeling I'm being selfish and it's unhealthy selfishness, I journal about it. I get it out of my head and I focus on being healthy selfish. Number 2, when you need some time alone, take it. Sometimes you just need to spend time with yourself. Do not feel obligated to always be around people, have them for dinner, fill your calendar, always be networking. We all need time to recharge, even if it's just that 20 minutes in the shower. Surround yourself, create an environment where you can have this healthy selfishness, and then take some time to spend with you, to recharge and take alone time for you. And number 3, and here's one I think, and this fits more because of our fast-paced world and technology. When you don't feel like being available, then don't. Just because I have my phone on me doesn't mean I have to answer it. And I'm getting really good at this in China because so many rubbish numbers call. Basically, I just don't answer my phone unless I know exactly who it is and I want to talk to them. When your phone is ringing, and you know, and it's not even, it could be a good conversation, but it may take you away from what you're doing or drain you, then wait until you're mentally and emotionally prepared to talk to that person. You are under no obligation to answer your phone, reply to your email, return every text as soon as you see it. This just causes stress. think about yourself. Go offline. Get off the grid.